They've only sent one? The laughter in the Zarnoxian War Council chamber was sharp enough to slice atmosphere. One ship, one. That was Earth's response to 74 lost colonies. One warship dropped alone into Sector Farsighta region. The Zarnox had already claimed, strip-mined, and renamed after themselves. Counselor Krex leaned forward, mandibles clicking against obsidian teeth. Is this ... a gesture? Surrender by performance art? Possibly, muttered First Strategist Voltrek. Or perhaps they believe the legends they whisper to themselves. Then they are fools, Krex said. The war table flickered, showing the human vessel in real time, small, angled, matte black plating dull against the stars. No escorts, no flags. Not even a transponder code. The room shimmered with smug certainty. This is the last flicker of a broken empire, Volume Trek. Declared Dot, but then one of the analysts, young, nervous, cleared their throat. Sir ... The ship's ID just decrypted. The laughter died. It's not a model we recognize, the analyst said. There's no data match in the Galactic registry. No known builder. No class. It's not even named in English. Just 3 glyphs burned into the hull. Display. Them. A silent flicker. Alien characters. Untranslated. Krex tilted his head. What do they mean? They're not meant to mean, the analyst replied. They're meant to be remembered. Far from the laughter, on the bridge of the human ship, the lights were dimmed. No one spoke. No one needed to. The crew knew what this was, what this meant. They'd all volunteered not for glory, but for memory. Commander Ilya Riza adjusted her. Gloves and silence, eyes fixed on the starfield ahead. No one had said a word since deployment. Not even the AI. Until now. Signal incoming, the ship said calmly. They're asking if this is a mistake. Ilya blinked once. Tell them. Yes. Confirmed. A pause. Do you wish to fire? No, she said. She stood. Let them try first. The Zarnox wasted no time. Their fleet surrounded the lone vessel like wolves around a wounded beast. 50 destroyers, 14 carriers, and the Sovereign Worm-class battleship Crown of Fangs, plasma lances readied. Railguns locked. Strategic inhibitors. Deployed. It was not a battle. It was a burial. And then the human ship moved, not in speed. In tone. As if its very presence deepened in gravity, in silence. The stars bent slightly toward it. Shadows elongated unnaturally. The first Zarnox ship to fire exploded. Internally. Without cause, without warning. Then another and another. No return fire. Voltrek shouted from orbit. We see no discharge signatures. How is this happening? Krex's voice cracked. Scan the ship again. And for the first time in their empire's expansion, the scanners failed, not jammed. Not scrambled. They returned a single word, error. Below on the ship's hull, the glyphs began to glow. On board, Ilya stood motionless as fire bloomed across the enemy lines. You think we're here to stop you? She whispered. We're not. We're here to remind you. The ship's AI echoed her. They conquered worlds with ease. Until a single human ship held the line. And that was before Earth even responded. The Crown of Fangs had never been breached. 15 planetary bombardments. 400 battles. No losses. No weaknesses. Until now. Pull us back. Voltrek ordered, voice ragged. Regroup behind. The perimeter fleet. But the perimeter was already dissolving. Not through war. Through abandonment. Ships were cutting power. Crew logs showed full mutiny. Officers walking off the bridge mid-alert. Some wept. Others simply stared into the black, whispering things no translator could parse. Why aren't they fighting? Krex barked. Because, one tech officer answered, they already lost. The commander spun. We still have numbers. Not against a memory, the text said softly. And that's what this ship is. In deep orbit, the human vessel moved without firing. Every attempt to lock on failed. Every AI prediction loop broke in 3 cycles or less. Every shot missed. Even the best gunners in the Sovereign fleet couldn't hit it, not because it was too fast, but because it shouldn't have been there. I don't think it's using warp, one analyst whispered. Voltrek turned sharply. Explain. I mean, it never arrived. It never traveled. It was always here. And now we're just noticing. He hesitated, then whispered one more thing. I think it remembers us. On the bridge of the human ship, Ilya Riza stood in full armor now. Not ceremonial, real, scarred, mismatched, older than anyone. On board. She didn't need to issue orders. There was only one. Hold. Not fight. Not charge. Just hold. Status of the crown? She asked. The AI took a moment, processing confusion. Minimal casualties. Maximum fear? Response? 3 factions within their command chain have opened fire on each other. She nodded. Good. The crew was silent. She turned slowly, facing them all. I'm not here to survive, she said. Neither are you. Some flinched. Others straightened. We're here to end their momentum. That's it. Break the illusion. Make them think twice. That's all we need. She paused. They don't fear war. They fear something worse. The AI finished for her. They fear pause. In the Zarnak's chamber, Krex leaned over the command table, arms trembling. What? Is that ship made of? No one answered, because no one knew. It didn't reflect scans. It didn't leak radiation. It didn't exist in any way they understood. Then who built it? He whispered. This time, Voltrek had an answer. They did. You mean Earth? Volume Trek's voice cracked. I mean, the humans that came before Earth. In Sector Theta 9, deep classified files were being opened for the first time in 1,000 years. Not by military command. By civilians, journalists, historians. They were trying to understand. One document kept. Resurfacing. Project. HELAX status. Scrap type. Single ship denial. Anchor purpose. Stop galactic momentum. Using psychological inertia. No blueprints. No fleet. Designation. Just a single note. Should never be activated unless humanity is truly cornered. Below that, if they see it, it's already too late. Commander Reza adjusted her left gauntlet. Time? 17 minutes since arrival. Enemy? What enemy? She gave a rare smile. Inside the crown of fangs, final orders were issued. Not to attack. To retreat. It was the first full withdrawal in Zarnak's history. They didn't even try to cloak it. They ran back to friendly space. Away from the gravity-deep hum of a human ship that hadn't even fired once. But one transmission stayed open accidentally, unintentionally broadcast across a dozen systems. One voice. A Zarnak's captain. I saw her, he whispered. On the hull. Who? Came a panicked reply. The human. She was outside. You mean on the bridge? No. A pause. She was standing on the ship breathing. The channel cut. The human ship made no attempt to chase them. It didn't deploy. Drones. It didn't taunt or gloat. It just held the line. Then powered down its exterior lights. Then turned its hull toward Sol. And vanished. Not into light. Not into warp. Just notice. That was the moment every Zarnak's warlords stopped speaking. The moment they began to wonder, if one ship could undo an empire's pride, how many more were watching? The retreat didn't make it far. 37. Zarnak ships blinked out of warp halfway through the sector gate, not because of pursuit, because something followed them back through. Memory. A silence. A knowing. The kind of dread that rewrites protocol. Mid-jump. Admiral Krylos sat alone in his observation deck, now feet up, armor unfastened, rank insignia resting in his palm like dead weight. We laughed. He whispered. There was no one left to respond. The broadcasts began a day later. Not from Earth, from the war zone. Civilian channels across neutral space received the same flickering transmission. 15 seconds of corrupted video. No sound. Just a visual loop of a lone human figure walking across a starship's hull. Unsuited, unarmed, and then turning. Smiling. It played everywhere. Cafe walls, info stations, data feeds. Children watched it in silence. Veterans vomited mid-breath. Entire military doctrines collapsed under 15 seconds of imagery. The footage didn't show destruction. It showed restraint, and that terrified the galaxy more than any weapon. Back in deep Sol orbit, Commander Ilya Riza stood inside a white room. She wasn't on a ship anymore. She was home. Not Earth, not Mars. But the place humanity had built for the ones they couldn't afford to lose. Command echo, silent, buried behind a folded curtain of space. "You disarmed before finishing the mission," said the voice. She didn't look at the speaker, just kept staring through the wall-length starfield window. "There was no mission," she replied, "only momentum. You could have gone farther, made them kneel, made them remember harder. They already remember." The voice pressed. "How do you know?" "Because they stopped speaking." A beat of silence. Then the voice softened. "And how are you?" Ilya's answer came too quickly. "Tired." Inside the crown of fangs, now limping in orbit over the Zarnox capital, engineers were scrubbing the outer hull. Not for damage, for markings. Lines had appeared etched directly into the armor. Not physically carved. Grown. One line repeated 3 times across the dorsal plating. No translation needed. Just 3 words. "We remember everything." The Emperor himself ordered the ship quarantined, not dismantled, not studied. Just left alone. In Sector Vesh, a former Zarnox-controlled world flickered back online. Its population reappeared from hiding, expecting fire, expecting pain. But instead of armadas, they found a single device in orbit. Human tech. Old tube, smooth and silent. On contact. It played one thing, a child's voice. "I'm sorry we didn't speak sooner," the voice said. "We were afraid we'd speak too loud." Then it shut off. Forever. Back on command echo. Ilya Reza stood before a dormant war table, not a tactical display. A fey memorial. She touched the edge gently. Thousands of names lit up beneath her fingertips. Not of soldiers, of victims. Entire settlements. Lost cities, burned biospheres. Events erased from interstellar records but stored forever in this room. "Why do we keep this?" she asked softly. Revan 7, her old AI, answered from the room's edge. "Because they forgot. And we didn't? We tried." A pause. "But one of us always remembers." The Galactic Council convened emergency talks in neutral orbit. Some argued to surrender preemptively to Earth. Others argued to isolate them, completely contain their systems, cut them from the lanes, but no one wanted to say the most honest thing. Earth hadn't attacked anyone. Earth hadn't made demands. Earth had only held the line, and that meant if they were provoked again. If someone did cross that line, no one knew what would be left. Somewhere near the edge of mapped space, an unknown object passed through a monitoring station. Not a ship, not a signal, just a concept. Scanners didn't detect metal or life. Only emotion, fear, grief, resolve. The station shut itself down. 6 hours later, Ilya stood beneath the memorial. Now, arms crossed. The lights pulsed gently. "Do you think it'll happen again?" she asked. Raven 7's voice was quieter than usual. Only if they forget. She nodded once, then turned back toward the stars, and Earth remained silent, not victorious, not vengeful. Just remembering. The silence became unbearable. Not for Earth. For everyone else. Trade routes rerouted around human-adjacent sectors. Diplomats sent their apologies in encrypted pulses. No one answered. Entire galactic forums shut down over one question. Why didn't they finish us? Because Earth didn't move forward. It simply waited. Which was worse, because when a predator doesn't chase, it means you're already within range. In the fourth outer ring of the Zarnox Empire, General Tsier awoke in the middle of a panic loop. No physical threat, just a memory one he hadn't earned himself. A vision, standing in front of the human ship, unable to breathe, not in space. In fear. Every night since the encounter, he'd seen the same figure standing on the hull, not walking, not speaking. Just watching. He tried neural resets. Didn't help, because the fear wasn't in his mind. It was in his species. A week after the war zone collapsed, the human ship was still listed on neutral sensors, but it didn't move, didn't recharge, didn't transmit. It was just there, like a monument that hadn't yet decided what it was remembering. Then something shifted, not physically. Culturally. Across multiple systems, fleet commanders started stepping down. Some never explained why. Others left messages. One of them read, "We can win against fire, not against silence." On board the Zarnox academic vessel Inquiry Deep, a group of researchers requested permission to approach the last known location of the ship. Unarmed. Neutral. ID. They didn't want to attack. They wanted to learn. Request. Denied. By Earth? No. By the galaxy. Every major council voted against it, because deep down, no one wanted to know what Earth was anymore. Understanding it would make it real. And right now, myth was safer than fact. In the Sol system, Earth remained quiet. From orbit, it looked peaceful. Too peaceful. As if the war they could have unleashed was beneath the soil, not above the stars, on Mars in a subterranean observation chamber. 6 commanders stood around a tactical replica of the human ship that had held the line. Not one of them spoke for the first 30 minutes. Finally, the youngest, a second-gen officer named Mira, broke the silence. So, was it a weapon or a message? General Ilya Riza entered from the far end, her coat still stained with the ash of her last flight. Yes. They called it Project Witness, not a fleet, not a strategy. A single directive, one ship. One moment. To stop the fall of galactic memory. Because war isn't what you start, Ilya told them. It's what you forget. She tapped the replica ship. This wasn't about dominance. It was about stopping time for just long enough that someone might ask the right question. Mara looked up, and if they don't? Ilya stared at the hull. They did. They just don't know it yet. In the ruins of a Zarnox colony called Vurak, the surviving inhabitants found a beacon, unmarked, black, buried beneath the old war dome. On activation, it displayed a 3D model of Earth. Rotating. Blue. Peaceful. Then it shifted, showing Earth during the fires, skies black, oceans boiling, cities gone. Text scrolled beneath. We did this to ourselves. Another shift. Earth now, alive again, and the final message. That's why we don't speak first. The galaxy, shaken and frayed, quietly began adopting a new law. Not official. Not codified. Just. Understood. Never send the first shot toward Earth. Not because Earth might destroy you, but because it might remember you. And then something new happened. Ship vanished. No warp signature. No signal. No light. One moment it was there, silent, still, patient. And the next. Not. Sensors registered no departure. No cloaking. Just an absence. The kind that felt ... personal, like being forgotten by a god. On Command Echo, Ilya Reza was already waiting. It's gone, someone whispered. Revan 7's voice echoed behind them. No, not gone. Just ... done. It ended. Without ceremony. No collapse. No explosion. No surrender. Just an emptiness where arrogance used to live. The human ship, nameless, silent, impossible, was gone. The war zone was quiet. The galaxy had moved on. Or tried to, but something lingered. A bay, shape in thought, a taste in history, a scar across collective ego. In the Zarnox Central Archives, a new wing was built, not to honor a battle, but to document a failure. They named it the D line, a long dark hallway, no displays, no sounds. Just a single strip of floor light leading toward a terminal no one touched. Inside it, one log remained. A single visual loop. 15 seconds of a human on a ship hull. Not speaking. Not blinking. Just present. And smiling. Krex never returned to duty after seeing it in person. He left the council. Disappeared. Some say he went to Earth. Others say Earth came to him. On Earth, there were no parades. No declarations. Just the usual. Dawns and quiet skies. The project file for the ship Witness was locked again. Buried deeper. Even the commanders weren't given clearance anymore. Ilya Reza stood alone in the glass atrium of Echo Station, watching Sol burn orange across the planet's limb. It's done, she said quietly. Raven 7 flickered into the tea room, his voice softer than the last time they'd spoken. For now. She didn't move. It won't last. No, it never does. She looked down. Her hand still shook when she thought about what they'd not done. You think we scared them? Yes. Enough? No. In an outlying moon of Sector 19, a small child was born to a family of refugees. They never told him what happened during the Zarnox withdrawal, but he would ask, why are there no ships flying over Earth's border? Why does no one speak above a whisper when they mention Terran space? Why do the soldiers train for wars they'll never fight? And one day, when he was older, he would find the footage. 15 seconds. Human figure. No armor. No words. Just a look. That smile. He stared at it for a long time, then turned. Off the screen. He didn't watch it again. He didn't need to. The galaxy's greatest weapons had all failed in front of that ship. Not because of shielding. Not because of firepower. But because the humans didn't want to kill anyone. And that's what terrified everyone most. Because if that was their restraint, then no one wanted to see their rage. Years passed. The memory became myth. The myth became caution. Caution became policy. New cadets were taught the lesson before anything else. If a ship appears without a name, if it doesn't move, if it doesn't speak, that's not an invitation. That's your only chance to turn around. One message made its way back to Earth long after the dust had settled. No encryption. No signature. Just a short text file sent from an unclaimed Zarnox probe drifting near Sol's border. It read, "We understand." Earth never replied. They didn't need to. And so, the line was never crossed again, because sometimes history doesn't need to be rewritten. It just needs to be remembered.